Welcome to this explainer. Have you ever caught yourself thinking, is my phone literally listening to me? Well, today, we're going to explore how rapid AI advancements are forcing us to completely rethink everything we know about digital privacy and financial freedom. We're diving into some incredibly deep insights drawn from people who have been building at the absolute frontier of cryptography for decades. And what they're telling us is pretty stark. The old paradigms of keeping your data safe, they are entirely obsolete. So let's jump right into this really provocative question. Can AI actually read your mind? Well, kinda. As AI pattern recognition reaches terrifying new heights, the old ways of hiding your digital footprints are already dead. You might think your online actions are anonymous, but AI doesn't actually need your name, it just needs your patterns. It notes what time you wake up, where you buy your coffee, what articles you linger on. It's essentially becoming a digital mind reader, making it unbelievably difficult to maintain any real semblance of privacy.
Section 1. The Cypherpunk UX Crisis. To really wrap our heads around today's privacy emergency, we first have to look back at why early privacy tech kind of failed the everyday user. We've got to examine the roots of this movement to see exactly where things went off track.
Think back to the early days of the Cypherpunk and Linux movements. These brilliant minds built incredibly secure tools, but they made one huge, fatal assumption. They basically thought, hey, we'll build this perfect system that preserves freedom, and then we'll just teach the whole world to be hardcore computer hackers so they can use it, right? But as we know today, asking non-technical people to learn complex cryptography just to send a quick message or make a payment is a guaranteed recipe for failure.
Cryptography pioneer and signal creator Moxie Marlinspike hit the nail on the head here. He said if you have fewer than 100 million users, then you're not affecting the world. And it makes total sense. If your privacy tool literally requires a PhD to use, it isn't actually changing the world. You simply cannot claim a win if you've only empowered a tiny, super niche group of power users while the rest of the world is left completely unprotected. Scale and usability are the only things that truly matter.
Now contrast that early failure with the Web 2.0 giants out in Silicon Valley. Oh, they totally mastered user experience. They knew exactly how to capture those 100 million users in a flash. But they weaponized that buttery smooth user experience through a pretty toxic model of advertising and data extraction. They gave us incredibly convenient tools, locked us in through network effects, and then relentlessly stripped away our privacy to feed their advertising algorithms.
Which brings us to Section 2, the AI privacy threat. This is where things get really existential. The Web 2.0 playbook has now fully collided with the explosive rise of artificial intelligence, meaning the tools used to track us just got exponentially smarter.
Here's the crazy part. AI doesn't just watch transactions, it recognizes human patterns. You don't even need to explicitly state what your intentions are online anymore. Advanced AI just sits back, observes your digital habits, and essentially pieces together your next move before you even make it. It's like a giant puzzle. If you leave a trail of behaviors across different platforms, an AI puts two and two together way faster and way better than a human ever could. This makes trying to retrofit privacy onto public, transparent systems virtually impossible.
So, let's look at value in flight versus value at rest. This is an absolutely critical comparison because it completely dismantles the biggest myth in crypto privacy. This false belief that simply hopping your funds rapidly between wallets somehow protects you. Most people assume that if they take a public asset, bounce it through a temporary privacy shield, and pop it out into a new wallet, they've broken the chain of surveillance.
But that value in flight strategy, it builds an inescapable trap. AI effortlessly matches the input and output metadata, rendering this old mixing tactic 100% useless against modern surveillance. Let's say you move exactly $5,000 into a privacy protocol, and over the next 3 months, you pull out 5 separate increments of $1,000. Boom, the AI connects those dots instantly. It absolutely doesn't matter how perfectly that middle step was encrypted. Your behavior at the entrance and the exit completely gave you away.
Section 3. The Value at Rest Solution. If jumping through hoops and moving funds around doesn't work, we clearly need a massive paradigm shift in how we achieve digital anonymity. We have to completely rewire our mental model of financial privacy.
We need what's called value at rest. This means storing digital assets in a shielded pool indefinitely, without any preconceived intention of how or when they're going to be spent. To actually blind an AI, you absolutely have to decouple your actions from your intentions. You just park your assets in a digital black hole way before you ever decide to buy something. You move your funds in when you have zero plans for them, and you just let them sit securely.
Basically, treat your privacy wallet exactly like a checking account.
Imagine securely holding a baseline amount of value using an app with a really seamless user experience, like the Zcash wallet for the Zcash network. You just keep those funds resting there. So let's say a month down the line your TV breaks, and you suddenly decide to buy a new one. Because that purchase was totally spontaneous, there's absolutely zero link between that action and your original deposit. The AI is totally blinded.
Privacy pioneer Zooko sums this up perfectly. You can't get privacy from value in flight, you can only get privacy from value at rest. This quote really captures the metaphysical genius of the whole idea. Because you literally had zero intention to spend anything when you shielded those funds, the AI cannot read a pattern. You just can't read a pattern that didn't exist. You're establishing your privacy before your future self even knows what they're going to do. It defeats predictive algorithms entirely.
Section 4, Funding the Future. Now, to actually build and maintain these incredibly user-friendly tools that can genuinely compete with Silicon Valley's bottomless pockets, we need a sustainable economic engine. Volunteer weekend coding just isn't going to cut it anymore.
We have to escape the trap of advertising and platform lock-in. I mean, think about it. If advertising is the only business model we use to fund tech and AI, we're doomed to repeat the surveillance nightmares of Web 2.0 all over again. We need a totally different way to pay world-class engineers, one that doesn't involve harvesting user data or trapping people in closed ecosystems.
And here is the crypto-native solution to this problem: a built-in dev fund. Think about how the Zcash block reward distribution works. 80% goes to the miners who secure the network, while 20% is automatically directed into a transparent fund specifically for ongoing protocol development. This continuously finances the developers, completely eliminating any need to harvest user data for profit. $200 million. Let that number sink in for a second. Over the next 4 years, based on recent market valuations, this dev fund model is projected to generate roughly $200 million. This creates a massive positive feedback loop for privacy innovation. The technology improves, users adopt it, the network value increases, and that pours even more funding right back into making the tech better. And all of this happens without ever serving a single ad. It truly is a sustainable privacy engine. We're talking about a transparent on-chain funding mechanism, absolutely zero reliance on targeted ads, no incentive to lock users in, and it perfectly aligns what the developers want with the user's actual freedom. It proves for sure that we can economically sustain world-class engineering without ever selling out our Cypherpunk ideals. The developers are literally paid to protect you, not to exploit you.
Section 5, Encrypted Bitcoin. When you bring all these pieces together, the flawless UX, value at rest, and sustainable funding, they converge into something really special, a brand new category of digital value. They create what we can call encrypted Bitcoin. This is a digital asset combining a hard 21 million supply cap with native, mathematically assured on-chain privacy. Because trying to stable privacy onto a transparent ledger after the fact, it's incredibly difficult. There are just too many information leaks. True financial sovereignty means privacy has to be baked into the base layer from day one. You take the proven economic scarcity of Bitcoin and you weave mathematically assured privacy right into the foundation of the code. This leads us to ZODLing, storing value in a shielded pool to protect your future. By adopting the practice of ZODLing, you're holding your wealth in this shielded, encrypted ecosystem. And you're not just protecting yourself when you do this, you are actively contributing to a much more stable, private digital civilization. You're expanding the crowd for everyone else to hide in, building a massive collective shield against algorithmic surveillance.
So as we wrap up this explainer, I've got to ask, if AI can read your digital patterns, are you ready to rethink how you store your digital value before it maps your mind? Will you just keep leaking your intentions to the highest bidder, or are you going to take back your digital sovereignty? The tools to opt out are finally here, and they've actually got the user experience to match. It is completely up to you to decide where your value rests. Thanks so much for joining me today, and keep questioning the patterns you leave behind.